We ready to rock and roll? All right, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. And it is Thursday, November the 11th. It is Veterans Day. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're coming on, we're live. Of course, y'all got to give me a pass this week because we are late. We're typically airing at 12 o'clock every day, and this week it's been anywhere from 12:15 to 12:35. It's pretty much been that every day, hadn't it? I think the earliest I've come on this week is 12:15. 12:30, okay. I'll chalk that up. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ramon Preston Show. Even though I'm late, it's not 12 o'clock noon, but guess what? It's still a beautiful day right here in the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta. It is November the 11th, Thursday, Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day. We want to salute all of our military personnel, those of you that have sacrificed so much of your lives and your families to give us the freedom. So we want to celebrate you and salute you today. Happy Veterans Day. And for those of you that are coming on, would you please be so kind to hit the like button, hit the share button, tag Lolly Dolly everybody, and let them know Prophet Ramon, the squad, and the Ramon Preston Show. We are live in the house, in his house today. And we're going to be talking about some of our fourth quarter questions for business. It just seems like for the past week or so, I have been getting so many questions from our followers on social media, from our coaching clients, and from people who are in our business community. And so I thought I would just kind of wing it a little bit and talk about a few of the questions that I've been getting. Some of them seem to be common questions. So it's showing me a few things about where people's minds are. And that's why I wanted to highlight some of these fourth quarter questions for business. So please hit the like button, hit the share button, and drop the name of the city that you're watching your boy from. Drop the name of the state, drop the name of the country. We have people from outside of the country, outside of the state of Georgia, outside of the city of Atlanta. So wherever you are, let us know where you're watching us from. We appreciate all of our subscribers on YouTube, our followers on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Thank you so much. Please, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. If you haven't already, make sure you follow us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and Instagram. We post all day, every day. We host this show 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And honestly, if I could pull it off, I would probably be doing it live on Saturdays and Sundays. But for now, we are here every Monday through Friday. So if you have any questions, if you have some questions that you want to ask me today, please drop the questions in the comments. My squad, they always lurking. Y'all lurking today? Okay. They lurking today. So my squad, they're lurking. So if you have a question that you would like to ask concerning business, holding company, sales, marketing, concerning financial systems, strategies that you are looking to implement before this year is out, particularly in this fourth quarter, I want you to drop the question in the comments. We are currently still working on building our studio on the other side of our wing. And I think this weekend we're going to be underway, as long as I could get my quote unquote project manager to show up and help us with the process. Soon and very soon, we're going to have our new and improved studio available, and I can hardly wait because we have so much new content that we are preparing to share with you on social media, and we're also preparing new courses, new training programs for our online university, Ramon Preston University. But for today, if you have any questions, please drop the questions in the comments so that we can answer your questions. Today's show is going to be centered around fourth quarter questions for business. And I'll explain to you why this is so important. Because if you've been listening to me for the past few days, you probably see that, or you're probably aware that I am adamant about making sure that you take the final quarter of this year to put yourself in the best position in your business and in your finances. So while you're coming on, while you're liking, sharing, tagging, while you're dropping the name of your city, your state, your country in the comments, let me stop, pause, and clause to say, welcome to the Ramon Preston Show. I'm your host, Ramon Preston. Every Monday through Friday, we show up here on this show to share with you information that we specifically and strategically designed to help you start, structure, and scale your businesses, your ministries, your income streams, and your wealth building dreams. And just in case you have not been following us, just in case today is the first day that you are watching the show, or maybe this is your first few shows that you're watching, you just started following, all of the information that we share on this show is a direct extension of what our organizational enterprise is all about. Ramon Preston Enterprises specializes in consulting, coaching, and training specifically for individuals, entrepreneurs, businesses, and nonprofits that actually want to start, structure, and scale whatever it is that they are endeavoring to do. In most cases, it's individuals or independent contractors or entrepreneurs who want to start and structure holding companies. They want to learn how to build divisions or how to develop subsidiaries under their holding companies. Perhaps while they're doing that, they want to be trained on how to manage the day-to-day operations of those type of complex organizational concepts. A lot of people who enter into the world of entrepreneurship and business that we work with as clients, they want to be coached and trained on how to lead that business, how to develop systems and processes for their businesses, like sales systems, marketing systems, financial systems, operational systems. And so we provide the coaching and the consulting and training for individuals and for business owners and entrepreneurs and those who really want to scale their finances, scale their operations, and scale their lives. And so this is like a treat for us to host this show 5 days a week, because it gives me an opportunity to bring value to you, to show you that, first of all, we know what we're talking about because we do it every day. And a lot of what we're teaching you and training you about are things that in my 18 years as a full-time entrepreneur, I did not know, I did not understand. So it's easy for me to say, hey, I've been a full-time entrepreneur for 18 years, but it's even easier for me to say that within those 18 years, I've only really been tracking real wealth building success for the last 3. So the first 15 years of my 18-year tenure as a full-time entrepreneur, I struggled a lot of those years. And it was hard for me to, for lack of a better term, it was hard for me to climb that executive ladder to run a legitimate organizational enterprise, especially because I'm a business owner in the for-profit world or entrepreneur, but I'm also a minister in the nonprofit world. So for someone like myself and my wife, we have had to figure out a lot of the nuances, and we've had to develop the right systems and strategies and processes and practices that worked for us in order to succeed, not just in our for-profit organization, but even in our nonprofit organization. And so for those of you that have followed me for a while, and even for those of you that are just coming around to following me and listening to me, what you're going to continue to learn, if you have not learned, is that I'm very generous with the information that I share. Because number one, I wish someone would have shared some of this information with me. And I'm sure people had it. I just did not have access to them. Of course, 18 years ago, that was 2003. We didn't have social media platforms. We didn't have a lot of the type of infrastructures that we have today that give us so much information and access to people like we do today. So fortunately for you, someone like me, I can show up at least 5 days a week, introduce you to information to show you that it is available, it is accessible, and you've got to make the decision not just to listen to what I'm saying, but you've got to make the decision to lean into what I'm saying. And so I just wanted to go over a few questions today that are common, but these are fourth quarter kind of questions. Now, let me preface some of the questions that I want to run through with this statement. I believe one of the reasons why so many people are starting to reach out to people like me and ask questions about tax strategies, business structures, investing. I believe the reason why, or one of the reasons why, people are starting to ask a lot of these questions in the fourth quarter is because, number one, people are starting to become more informed on the potential tax liabilities that they can mitigate and minimize if they have the right information. Okay, that's why a lot of questions are centered around tax strategies and reallocation of pre-tax income and holding company structures. But also, people are starting to realize that you can't just depend on one source or one stream or one vehicle that generates income. So now people are starting to realize that, oh wow, even if I have a job, I still need to legitimize a side hustle. And when I say legitimize a side hustle, I need to have a business system in place so that I can either minimize my personal tax liability, but at the same time maximize my potential profitability for my business. And so these are some of the common questions that people are asking. Now, one of the most common questions that I have gotten from people, and I've been talking about this with our coaching clients for the past few weeks, is how do I reconcile my profit and loss statements? How do I start the process of figuring out what my potential tax liability will be in 2022? That's a very common question. Most of the clients in my coaching program have that same question. They have that same concern. Most of you in social media who at least have reached out to me have asked questions relating to that. Prophet Ramon, what exactly do I need to do to make sure that when I come into 2022, I'm not going to be hit across my head with taxes? Now, some of you may remember that a few weeks ago, I shared with you a few steps that you need to take in order to look at the details of your potential tax liability and work on minimizing it. So let's just say, for the purpose of this conversation, let's just say you want to reconcile your profit and losses so that you can identify with what is your potential tax liability. Now, for those of you that are familiar with certain accounting terminology, or maybe you are a professional accountant. I'm not a professional accountant. I have professional accountants on my team. I work with tax strategists and accountants. I am not one. So just keep in mind, a lot of the things that I'm saying to you may just be my opinion or may be based on my experience. And I'm limited to just me and my business and my life and my world. So you always have to make sure that you are discussing this with people who understand the nuances and the details of what you are attempting to do. Don't just listen to those of us who are showing up on social media as gurus as if we know everything about everything you doing. We don't know nothing about what you're doing. And even if you tell us everything you doing, it doesn't mean we have the right answers, because people like me, we talk a good game, but I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business owner. I'm waking up every day. This is kind of like my own disclaimer, but I'm just keeping it 100 with you, that you can't rely on another entrepreneur, another business owner to give you legal and tax advice and think that it's going to suffice what you want to do. You got to fact check that stuff. Because listen to me, and I want you to hear this very clearly. Every time I come up with an idea about what I want to do that has a legal nature to it or a tax or financial nature to it, guess what I do? I fact check myself. So I'm going to get on the phone, or I'm going to email my attorney, or I'm going to get on the phone and email my tax strategist and say, hey, here are the 3 or 4 questions I have. What do you think about this? And I'm going to be the first one to probably tell you this. Most of the questions I send, especially my tax strategists, most of the questions I send to them, they send me back answers that's like, let me know 3 out of your 4 questions are just goofy. Like, Ramon, you need to get it together. Like, because 3 of those questions, you just in la-la land trying to finesse your way out of doing something that you're going to have to do. It's inevitable. So I'm saying that in transparency and openness because I don't want you to think that you have to be the expert. One of the things that I teach in my Blueprint Game Plan program is a principle of having a credibility kit. That's what I call it. It's a credibility kit. And that credibility kit is made up of at least 5 experts or executives that might be on your team. But most of us who are small business owners, we're not going to have experts and executives on our team. We're going to be outsourcing that, meaning that you might not be able to have a lawyer full time in your doggone office every day unless you got hundreds of employees or you're making millions of dollars. All right. You're not going to have accountants and CPAs and tax strategists. You're not going to have all these experts in-house unless you are a firm and you generate that kind of money to justify that. All right. Most of the time, these are people you're outsourcing. You have relationships with, but they are still a part of your credibility team. So more than me giving you legal answers and tax answers that are absolutely positively correct when I know nothing about the law or little about the law and nothing or little about taxes and the laws that govern them, you got to fact check that. And you shouldn't just fact check me and other people on the internet. You should be fact checking your doggone self. How about that? You got to fact check your doggone self. You need to say that to yourself sometime. I need to fact check my doggone self. Because that's what I do. And when you have a credibility kit, you are easily able to do that. So when I come up with a question or scenario or idea in my mind about business or finances or something that has a legal nature or tax or financial nature, I'm going to reach out to experts and figure that out. It could be about anything. I do the same thing with my team. My team, they're good. I got people on my team that are good in the things that they're good at. Well, guess what? When it comes to them or something that has the nature of what they're doing, I'm going to run it by them. What you think about this? Even if I still think I'm right, I still want to get a different perspective. So that's one of the common questions that I've been getting. How do I reconcile it? Well, the first thing is you got to make sure that you have the right financial management system. Okay. So let's say, for example, if you are a W-2 employee, right? And you have a business on the side, you got a side hustle, you should have 2 separate financial management systems. Now, these are just my personal recommendations, even though I am an ambassador for QuickBooks. So if you want a discount, we can always send you a link and give you access to a discount through our ambassador program. But for your personal finances, I always recommend apps like mint.com. Now, one of the reasons why I recommend that for personal, and of course, I would recommend QuickBooks for business. One of the reasons why I do that because both of these financial management softwares or programs are powered by Intuit. Okay, so they're both owned by and powered by Intuit. And what I've seen that to do for me is it has made it easy for me to navigate and understand how to operate these systems, because they're both powered by the same infrastructure, if you will. So when you go to mint.com, you can download the apps, or you can use it from your MacBook or your desktop. It's just easier for you to learn a financial management system for your personal situation. And if or when you decide to start a business, the navigation into a business software is easier because it's very, very similar. So of course they have a lot of complicated ones. You could do Excel type management systems. I'm an easy person, so I need something that's a little more easy and functional. So now I'm starting with this, but we're going to get to why you need to reconcile your profit and losses so that you can figure out before the year is out where you are. So you need to start with making sure you have a financial management tracking system for your personal finances and for your business finances. Okay? Now this is going to get more complicated for those of you who have ministries, you have nonprofits, or other businesses, because for every business that you own, you need to have a QuickBooks account for each business. And then for your personal finances, a lot of your income, maybe your 1099 income, your W-2 income will be coming to your personal finances, and you've got to make sure all of that is separated. Because if it's not separated, you're not going to know what your potential tax liability is, right? And experts call this forecasting, okay? Experts call this forecasting. So what do you mean by the forecasting? Well, what I mean is I want to look at all the income that I've had come in that's considered personal income. All right? Whatever the dollar amount is from the beginning of the year to now. I want to look at my W-2 income. I want to look at my 1099 income. And I want to be able to gather the total amount of money that I have brought in that would be considered personal income. Because if you around here making money as a W-2 employee and as a 1099 independent contractor, and you're thinking it's considered business income that would be associated to an EIN and a real entity like a corporation or LLC, well, it's going to be too late for you to wait until 2022, and then you go to your tax person and you show your tax person, oh, I made $80,000. 20 of that was in my business, and the other 50 was between my W-2 and my 1099. And then the tax person tells you, oh, well, your taxes are going to be this, that, then the other. And you're like, why? I got a lot of deductions in my business. Yeah, but that income is not going to be treated the same. So this is why you want to do it now. So we're talking about reconciling. We're talking about reconciling, okay? You want to reconcile all your income and all your expenses. So you want to look at your personal income. And again, if you have apps that you're using like Mint or QuickBooks, it's going to make it easier, because now all you got to do is go on there, reconcile all the transactions, and look at, okay, what is my total income? What is my total income? That's going to be W-2. That's going to be 1099, let's say, and that's going to be EIN income. And then I want to look at my total expenses. And once I do my total expenses, or deduct that, subtract that from my total income year to date, then I can look at what dollar amount is left. And now, once I figure out what that dollar amount is, even though I have 10 steps that I teach on what you need to do to make sure you exhaust this process, I'm just kind of fleshing through it to answer the question, how do I start the process? How do I reconcile my profits and loss? How do I begin the steps to forecast what my potential tax liability is? This is where you begin. You're looking at your total income, W-2 income, 1099, EIN. Why do you want to separate that? Well, because you might be getting W-2 income on your job, and maybe you have so many exemptions that they're not taking federal taxes out of your W-2 paycheck, which means when you come back around into 2022, you're going to have to justify, why didn't you allow them to take taxes out? Why did you tell them not to withhold federal income taxes? But the income that you make, you're still going to be responsible to report that income and to pay taxes on that income, or at least to justify what expenses did you have or deductions did you take to use to see to it that you lowered the tax liability for that particular W-2 income. All right. Well, your 1099 income, that's going to be treated different than your W-2 income to some extent, because this is money that you might be making as an insurance agent, as a real estate agent, as a freelancer. You do hair on the side, you cook and sell plates on the side. Like, the truth is, you should be tracking that income so that you can report that income, because that's a part of doing business. Now, if you're doing business under the table, none of this makes sense to you anyway. But if you want to be legit and you want to do it the right way so that you can start building a legitimate business system, because the ultimate goal is to get you to a point to where your business is generating income and it's helping to facilitate the lifestyle that you want to live, because you're doing it the right way. So all of this income, if you're a minister, most ministers are going to be treated like 1099s. If they're not getting a salary from their church or their nonprofit organization, they may be traveling and preaching and getting offerings. Like you may be getting offerings and getting love seeds and honorariums. Well, that may be considered 1099. As a matter of fact, a lot of churches you go to or groups that you speak for, either you're giving them an entity's information with the EIN for them to give you a form so that they can report the money that they paid you, or you're going to give them your social security number, and that's going to be somewhat of a 1099. So these are things that you got to think about when you're wanting to start the process of reconciling your income. So once you get your total income, now you can look at your total expenses. And again, if you haven't tracked your expenses, I know I'm taking a lot of time on this one question, because this is like the biggest question I've been getting. Everybody trying to figure out, man, how do I find out, Ramon, how to lower my taxes? Well, this is how you start the process, at least. So you figure out what your total expenses are. And then when you get that net number, now you got to go back and revisit your personal financial management system, your business financial management system, to see where did you miss certain transactions. You may even have to go back. I've worked with some clients to walk them through this process as well. You may have to go back through all your bank accounts to see what transactions that you miss that were actually business transactions or business related transactions that you could pull in to lower that number. And then you go back and you recalculate it. But once you identify with what that net number is, that is probably going to be the net number you will be taxed on. And most of the time, whatever that net number is that you're going to be taxed on, you may not even have that cash sitting in the bank. You may not even have that money available. So let's say you made 80 grand this year over the course of these three. You got some 1099 income, W-2 income, and some EIN income, and you made 80 grand. And then you figured out all your expenses, and your total expenses were 60 grand. That means you're netting 20. Well, there's a possibility you could be paying taxes on that 20, but based on where that 20 is located will determine what that tax liability will be. Because it's going to be some federal taxes, it's going to be some, self-employment taxes, it's going to be some state taxes. So you may be paying taxes or have a tax liability for the 20 that you net, and you might not even have $20,000 sitting in the bank. Or you may not even have, let's say, 15% of 20,000 if you had to pay up to 15% or 20% of the taxes. Think about it. If you net 20 grand, what's that? 20% is 4 grand. So you could be on the hook to pay $4,000 in taxes or more or less. I don't know. Your tax person has to walk through that scenario with you. But trust me, you have to have some of this stuff figured out in terms of reconciling these numbers and these transactions when you go to them. Because they're going to be looking at you like, you ain't giving me nothing. I don't know what you made. I don't know what you brought in. And you can't be expecting for them to come up with numbers for you. They're not, most of the time, they're not going to do that. These are professionals. And these professionals are not going to do that. Okay, so another question that I feel like is very common for this fourth quarter is a question on the holding company concept. So I've gotten quite a few people to ask me, if I have a holding company, and my holding company is LLC number 1, right? And then my holding company has an operating company. I'm gonna just put OE for short. This is operating company, or OE. I'm talking about OE. That's OC. What I'm saying, operating, I'm thinking operating entity. No, I'll just put operating company, LLC number 2. And then you have operating company, LLC number 3. Now, this is a common question that I've been getting, and I think this question is really subject to what activities you have going on and what your tax person tells you. So the common question is, if I have a holding company, LLC number 1, and I got 2 LLCs that the holding company owns, if LLC number 2 makes a certain amount of money, how can I move that money over into LLC number 3 so that I don't have to pay any taxes when my holding company reports the overall income? And so that answer is really going to be based on the activities that you're doing that you run through or run by your tax person. That's why I said you can't just be watching videos on the internet thinking that we as entrepreneurs who are so creative, we're so aggressive, we always hypothetical, we see the bigger picture, we always dreaming. Yeah, we talk a good one until we talk to our tax person. I shared that with y'all yesterday or the day before that. I had a scenario of activities. I had a series of activities. I had a scenario where I had a series of activities that I was working on for this fourth quarter. And I was thinking to myself, oh, I'm going to do A, I'm going to do B, and I'm going to do C. And then maybe if I do A, B, and C, I'll be able to win over here at D. And I thought to myself, well, it sounds good. And I just knew I was right until I sent the questions to my tax person. And then they emailed me back and was like, well, first of all, no, and no. Like, they was like, no, you're not going to be able to do that because that is a different entity. This is going to be different income treated differently. And so my answer to you is, if you have a scenario where you got a holding company, you got an operating company or multiple operating companies that's making profits, right? And that has net profits. And you have another company under or subsidiary under your holding company that you want to do some type of investing in, my personal recommendation is for you to talk to your tax person, because it's not that clear cut for you to think that, oh, I'm going to take the money from this company, give it back to the holding company, then the holding company going to give it over here. And then once the holding company gives it over here, it's going to zero me out here. And when my holding company reports that dollar amount, I'm not going to pay taxes on it. Well, there are things called, and this is just from my experience and my knowledge talking with these experts, there are things called non-taxable events. And so if these activities are not necessarily considered non-taxable events, whether that's an investment that's a non-taxable event or just a legitimate expense or business deduction, those are things you got to talk to your expert about. I'm not the expert. And most people who are in the space that I'm in, I'm a business consultant. I'm not a tax consultant. I'm not a legal consultant. I'm a business coach, meaning that I'm going to help you start and structure and scale it. I'm going to give you education and training and coaching and accountability and walk you through certain processes and through certain systems that you're building out to make sure that you're profitable and that you're making money and that you're getting known and that you're creating opportunities for yourself. But the back office of your business, meaning that the legal side and the tax side, you need to have these people in your credibility kit, and they're everywhere. So make sure if you have a scenario like this that you don't just assume because you made one transaction from LLC number 2 to LLC number 1, and then LLC number 1 made a transaction to LLC number 3, that when you do your taxes next year, that money is going to be like, oh, it don't exist. You better make sure that with your tax person. All right. If you have any questions, I want you to drop the questions in the comments. And I don't know, it just seems, I don't know why it's like this, but it seems like, here's what it seems like. It seems like people always wait until the show ends live to start sending me questions. They always wait till the show over with. Somebody asked me a question, can this be done in Australia? I guess so. There are businesses in Australia, right? There are churches in Australia. There are LLCs and corporations in Australia. So I'm assuming that, yeah, it can be done in Australia. I'm sure you can start a business in Australia. And fundamentally speaking, you're still going to have a business system, right? You're going to have a marketing system. You're going to have a sales system. You're going to have a financial system. So you're still going to have an operational logistics system. You're going to have to work on your products and your services. Everything that I teach in my training program and as a coach and consultant, you're going to need in business. Remember what I told you at the beginning of the show. I didn't know all this stuff when I first started. I knew nothing about sales systems. I knew nothing about marketing systems. I knew nothing about financial systems. I knew nothing about business or holding company systems. And guess what? I'll be the first one to tell you again, I figured it out the hard way. I spent a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy, and a lot of money trying to figure that out. So I want to encourage you I really want to encourage you to take me up on the offer that we have. We have a $29 offer for an upcoming sales and marketing workshop next Saturday from 12 to 4 p.m., November the 20th. Next Saturday, we're going to be hosting a 4-hour sales and marketing workshop. And when you RSVP, you could click the link. When you RSVP and your $29 payment is processed, you're going to have that link for the sales and marketing workshop that's coming up on 11/20 at 12. And you're going to also get access to our financial systems workshop and our holding company workshop. So all you have to do is click the link and we're giving you access to that. Let me see what else. I haven't really even been talking about the new venture that we just launched. We just launched a new venture called RP Capital. And my wife and I, we've been in real estate since we've been married. Actually, before we got married, we were both studying for real estate and preparing to get into the real estate arena. My wife, she was dabbling in mortgages. Huh? You got a question? What's the question? How do you create a sales process? The question is, how do you create a sales process? This is how you create a sales process. And I'm not being funny. You sign up for my sales and marketing workshop. You have to pay. I'm just being honest with you. You have to pay. You have to pay to play. You got to pay to learn. You have to learn. You have to get it from people who got it. Like, I didn't just come up with a sales process. I had to pay, and way more than $29. Like I'm one of those people where when I hear people say something, I fact check it, meaning that, like Toretta, she brought me some information from a potential business relationship the other day. And guess what? When she showed it to me, the first thing that I did, it's just instinctive. My subconscious clicks in. I went right to my computer and Googled the name of their business, their organization, and the name of the key person. I went to the Secretary of State to see if they were registered. I'm doing all this because I know banks are going to do it and people who got money going to do it, because they're not going to play these wishy-washy, flaky games. Now, why am I bringing that up? I'm bringing that up because when it comes to things that you have to pay to learn and get access to, when you hear people say things like, oh, I'm giving it to you for $29, but I paid $290,000. Listen, just fact check it, because here's the truth. A lot of times they had to pay way more of a price than you're paying for them to give it to you. So every time that I sell a product, every time that I sell a service or sell a program, whatever that price is, and most people who are doing the things that I'm doing feel the same way. Whatever that price is, it's nowhere near the price that we paid to get it. You get what I'm saying? So we don't have a problem. Like I'm not even blinking at charging $29 to teach you some basic fundamentals of sales and marketing. And so this is just a long answer to a short, easy question. If you want to learn how to create a sales process, sign up for this upcoming sales and marketing workshop, because it's just some information nobody's going to give you for free. And you can't live your life saying things and thinking like this, man, nobody don't want to give me nothing. No, you don't want to pay for nothing. That's just the truth. Because I used to feel like that. And I remember I got to a point where I was like, wait a minute. Is it that nobody wants to give it to me, or that nobody wants to give it to me for free? And then the moment I made it up in my mind that, oh, now I just got to do my due diligence and my research to find people who got what I want, and whatever the price is that I have to pay to get it, I got to pay the price. So when you're getting a lot of fluff and it's like, man, I watched all 8 of those videos on YouTube and I ain't learned nothing. The video's free. You can't expect to get everything from a free video. Or I watched your show and I still don't even understand what you're saying. I only have an hour, if that, to discuss a topic that might require you to learn for over the course of a year. So you have to understand, and I'm not talking about the person who asked the question now. Don't think that I'm going off on you. I'm just speaking in general, that I want all of you that follow me, that listen to me, that are part of my community. This is how you should lead. Lead with intelligence, but also lead with being ready to pay for it. That's the easiest way to learn and to get further. Because I do it too much. A lot of times I'll lead with money. I'll be like, how much it costs? And then they tell me how much it costs. But if I've done my research and I'm like, oh, I like it, it's what I want, I'm going to pay for it. So I'm gonna teach you a sales process. I'm literally gonna teach you a sales process. But again, I paid tens of thousands of dollars for it. Trust me. And I got people to verify what I just said. It costs us plenty of money. So what we're giving away for $29, it's really not a $29 product for a sales and marketing workshop. Is really a sales and marketing workshop for a group of coaching clients that have paid at least $5,000 for me and my team to coach them for a whole year. So it's really a $5,000 program that we're just giving people access to come in and like peek in the window to see like what are they learning. So you're going to see most of the people that are in the room in person and some of the people that are going to be live during the virtual streaming of the sales and marketing workshop. These people paid thousands of dollars to be sitting in that virtual room or to be in that physical room. And they're part of a one-year program where they're learning not just processes and systems, but they're also learning about business. They're learning about holding companies. They're learning about taxes and finances. They're learning a whole lot. So I want to make sure that you reach out to us. You click that link. As I was mentioning, we just launched a new venture. It is a new venture under our parent organization, and this new venture is called RP Capital. And what we are doing or focusing on is value add acquisitions, asset management, and strategic repositioning for residential property. So if you are watching this show today, and if it's you or someone you know who is thinking about selling their residential property, it could be a single family property, it could be a townhome or a fixer upper, it could be a commercial property, particularly a small to medium-sized retail plaza or a special purpose facility. Perhaps it could be a multifamily property, residential multifamily. That would be a duplex, triplex, quadruplex, or 5 units and up. If you or someone you know that's thinking about selling their property and they just want to make sure that they have the right people that they can work with, and they also want to make sure, more importantly, that they maximize their profits on the sale with or without an agent, our company is positioned to acquire those real estate properties. So feel free to reach out to us today. We do have a link, don't we? It is RamonPrestonCapital.com. So that's my name. Say what now? It's RamonPrestonCapital.com. And if for nothing else, I would love for you, if for nothing else, I would love for you to just go to RamonPrestonCapital.com and take a look at what we are introducing to the market. This is going to be like a big legacy play, especially coming into 2022. This is a part of a dream that God has given to me. And this dream is directly connected, not just to my legacy, but this dream is directly connected to my tribe, my community. And I'm particularly referring to the Black faith community. And I'm referring to that community for a reason, because that's been like my biggest base of support and business since I've been in business. It's been predominantly the biggest base of support that I have had even in ministry. And I want to specifically make sure that I provide wealth building opportunities for my community, that community in particular. Of course, I'm half white, so it ain't a race thing, and it ain't necessarily a faith thing. It's not as if you're not if you're not black or saved, you can't do business with me. I do business with everybody. My wife and I do business with everybody. But if we were to lay out from the time we started in business and ministry 18 years ago to today, and you would look at the demographics, right, of the people that we have had to support us and that we have done business and ministry with, guess what you're going to find out? Oh, predominantly the Black faith community. And so it's one of the ways that I know this company is positioned to help provide wealth building opportunities for. I'm not going to be getting into the details of what that's going to look like in 2022, but just know we're on to some big things. And so we're looking for real estate properties to purchase. We want to acquire them. We want to make that transition easy for you. And so if you're in a situation where you're distressed, you're in a situation where you might be a landlord and you're just ready to exit the business, you are ready to just, like move on and exit your tenure as a landlord, we want to talk with you. As a matter of fact, when you go to RamonPrestonCapital.com, we offer a free property assessment, And what that's going to do is give you an opportunity to give us some basic information about the subject property. And my team and I, we're going to conduct a preliminary underwriting assessment. I know that sounds very bougie and sophisticated, but what that means is we're going to run the numbers and do some research and some due diligence on your subject property to see exactly what the value of your property is and how we could maximize the exit, the sale, and even our acquisition on that property so that you can move forward with a win-win situation. And I've got the best people on my team. And when I say I've got the best people on my team, I know everybody feels that way. But I do. I have the best people on my team. We have some of the strongest administrative support team members, but we have some of the strongest lenders on our team, brokers on our team. Like, we got some real good, solid people on our team. Just trust me when I tell you that. So I'm excited about that because this has been something that my team and we have been talking about and working on. And we've had in the incubator for some time. And so I knew before this calendar year ended, this was kind of like one of my fourth quarter repositioning strategies for our company. And that was to launch RP Capital LLC. So anyway, I love y'all. I appreciate all of you jumping on today, being a part of the show. My apologies for being late this week. If you only knew. If you only knew, I'm not spilling no beans on why I have literally been late every day. Just know it's not something that I wanted it to be this week. It is what it is. So prayerfully, next week I will be on time every day, because I'm also going to be equally excited because I'm working towards making sure when we get into next week, we're going to be starting the process of building out our new modernized, improved studio. So I love y'all. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Feel free to reach out to us on coaching, on our online training, on any real estate questions that you may have, and definitely make sure you click the link to sign up for our upcoming sales and marketing workshop, and give yourself the next week or so leading up to next Saturday to go through the other 2 workshops that we're giving you access to for free. So while you're waiting on the sales and marketing workshop, which is a live event next week, you're able to go through the holding company workshop and the financial systems workshop. So we love y'all. Appreciate you. And we'll see you same place, same time tomorrow right here on The Ramon.